I find this news very funny. Sony's leasing PS5, PS5 Pro, and PS Portal to UK players for a monthly fee. PlayStation officially let this happen by partnering with Raylo, not the unofficial ones that we here in Bali tend to get. Yes, we can rent PS5s here for up to 15,000 rupiah an hour on site. That's less than $1. As for what they're actually offering, it's pretty bizarre. They're offering a monthly rental contract or a 1 to 3 year contract, so you can get a PS5 digital for a month for about £21.95 or around $28. That's more than enough time to finish the single player campaign of a lot of AAA games. If I really want to play GTA 6, this might be the best way to save some money without buying a whole console for it. I do find it weird that they're letting you to rent it for 3 years. At that point, if you do the math, you might as well just buy the console outright. I don't mind the business model at all. I just find it funny that it's the Western world catching up with what we Indonesians have been doing since the PS2 era. Hell, we're still doing PS2s right now. Apparently, this was also a business in Japan, so nice of you UK to finally catch up. Hopefully, it's America's time to learn this business model. Failing all that, console gamers can just stick to the PS4 until they have enough cash for a PS5, or take another route and join the PCMR. Even so, if you have a PS4 and you have a firmware lower than 11.0, you might be lucky enough for a jailbreak. I have plenty of consoles in my living room. The Wii here is jailbroken. The PS3 is jailbroken. The PS4s have no hard drives. I have literally no use for them, but I do have some use with the hard drives. I was about to install some jailbreaks on it and run Linux, but I'm just too lazy to do it. Oh, and here's a 3DS too. For the consoles that are jailbroken, they let me to install whatever games I like by getting them through the 7 Cs. But this person clearly doesn't like that. They had to snitch to the FBI and ask PlayStation about this horrific monstrosity that is dumped console games. I do have to admit that while the PlayStation 4 has its faults, it's still a capable gaming system for plenty of titles that are still great to play to this day. If you can get a jailbroken one for around $200, it's a steal. And even if you're not interested in the console, their controllers are still pretty good too. The problem with the PS4 is that the latest jailbreak is still a tethered one, which means once you turn it off, you have to jailbreak it over and over again. You could mitigate that by putting it to rest mode, but that's it. The jailbreaking process for the 11.0 version is a bit tedious, but it's manageable. I definitely can't wait for the next PS4 jailbreak because I really want to have a Linux PC running in it. Aside from snitches and PlayStation rentals, we have loads of terrible console peasant takes. But before we get to all that, if you really like the content so far, please don't forget to click the like button, comment, subscribe, and become a sponsor through any of these means, links below. Steam concurrent users are reaching 40 million users, and that's a pretty high record. Only 12 million in-game. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I had my Steam running while I'm doing anything other than playing games. But that's why the PC is amazing. I can do anything else other than gaming. And I need to do anything else other than gaming. That's how I pay the bills. PC gamers sure spend a lot of time on a gaming platform not gaming. I see nothing wrong with that. Gaming is not the only thing that you can do on a PC. You can only play games on a console. Oh, sorry, you can also watch Netflix on a console, like what this mad lad did. I haven't played a PC game in 10 plus years, but I got thousands of hours on my PlayStation in that time. Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. My PS4s are gathering dust, and they have both of their hard drives removed because I need to store files more than playing PlayStation 4 games, which are mostly on PC anyway these days. Personally, I'll take the PC any day because my work is on the PC. But if your work is not on the PC, then I guess the console is for you. Here's another pro-console argument that isn't convincing enough for me. Consoles update in rest mode. I really don't see that as a win. Scheduling updates isn't really that hard on PC too. PC games have pretty poor optimization. That's not the PC's fault, that's the developer's fault. Gaming on a TV without fussing or changing screen windows is pretty cool. You don't have to change screen windows on PC. You just need to pick the right HDMI input for the PC, which is something that you also have to do with the consoles too, when you hook it up to the TV. Just sitting down on a couch with your controller, turning on the game and playing is great. Not having to reach a keyboard. Well, there's this thing called a wireless keyboard and mouse combo you can buy for like $16, so you can still play games on a couch without having to reach a keyboard. Even so, I find not having a keyboard to be a negative because typing on a controller is awful. Thankfully, consoles do let you type in using any keyboard that you plug in, including wireless ones, so that solution is fixed. Shame that they don't have any decent browsers, including one that browses using the mouse. Let's see how this will convince me out of PC gaming. The last thing I want to do after coming home from work is tinkering, driver updates, and trying to figure out how to get my games work. First off, tinkering? You don't have to tinker at anything once you're done with the initial setup. I only tinker when I need to upgrade or if there's something wrong with the hardware. I recently upgraded the RAM from 16GB DDR4 2400 to 32GB DDR4 3200 and added some more fans. It's bright blue this time. Second, driver updates. The only driver update you need to do is for your GPU, and that can be done with a couple of clicks using the NVIDIA app or the Radeon Adrenalin software. It's a couple of clicks. It's not that hard. You're making it sound like a huge hassle when it's really not. Third, figuring out how games work? It's just one click on Steam. This is only a problem when you're sailing the seas for older games. That's where you have to figure out how to get it running in modern systems. Sometimes you have to mod them to support modern controller inputs, and they can be quite a hassle to figure out. But I still see this as a plus. Games can run on PC in many different ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some console peasants moved the compatibility goalpost way too far. Only Zero Neuron ones chose to give away all their consumer rights playing on PSU and its digital-only scam. Wow, where to even begin on this one? Loads of insults right up the gate with the PSU comment. Also, digital-only scam? Pirated no DRM digital copy is the best copy. That trumps physical copies any day. Paying more than for a Pro for melting and fire risk hardware. Well, I'm not the one paying for a high-end RTX GPU, and neither are a lot of PC gamers. And I certainly did not pay way more for a Pro console that barely improves anything. Can you install MS-DOS, Windows 95 to 2000 natively on newer PC hardware without emulation crutches? Why would you want to do that? We can emulate those. Your consoles can't, unless we jailbreak them. Emulation ain't infinite retrocompatibility, chief. It absolutely is. And even if I agree that it isn't, being able to emulate is still way better than not being able to run it at all. Speaking of compatibility, I hate it when someone removes compatibility. There is a problem, however. This is some fake news. DirectX 9 games don't work on RTX 50 series cards because NVIDIA dropped 32-bit CUDA support. That did not happen. What actually happened, as I covered plenty of times in this channel, is that NVIDIA RTX 50 series dropped support of 32-bit NVIDIA physics, which affected these games. NVIDIA physics is the middleware for a lot of special effects that were used in plenty of games in the past. It's not the same as DirectX 9, which is an older version of DirectX API that was used in plenty of games in the past. Technicalities aside, you can still run BioShock, Half-Life 2, GTA San Andreas, Skyrim, and the Batman Arkham games just fine. Except with the Batman Arkham games, you can't run it with NVIDIA physics using GPU. You have to run it using CPU, which will tank your performance. You can also just turn them off, but I just find it stupid that NVIDIA arbitrarily takes the support off of their newest RTX 50 series cards, which is a disaster in and of itself. I am good over here with my consoles running 20-year-old games just fine. Yeah, so is the PC. In fact, the PC has way more libraries of older games than yours, so I don't know why you're bragging at this point. Here's another hoopla regarding PC versus consoles, but I think people are really doing it wrong with the statistics. If you break down the sales of multi-platform games based on their platforms, generally speaking, the PlayStation version will sell more in Western countries, but the PC version will sell more in Eastern countries. That's because PlayStation is not as popular as PCs here, especially when getting PC parts in China or Taiwan, where most of the manufacturing happens, is a lot easier than getting them in the Western countries. Oh, and there's also the Switch, which is so big that it might as well be its own market. But even so, this is just a general overview, and it really depends from publisher to publisher. It depends from game to game. It's really hard to say whether games sell more on PC or consoles globally, because we don't always have the statistics and numbers to back them up. What I'm saying is that using sales breakdown based on platforms to score points in the console war is ludicrous and stupid. Actually, console wars in general are ludicrous and stupid, but that doesn't stop a lot of console fanboys from participating and making bad arguments. That doesn't stop me from having fun tearing it down. Monster Hunter Wilds, for example, sold 8 million copies. Some console gamers said that it sold more on PlayStation. Industry analysts said that it sold better on PC. Either way, the PlayStation 5 and PC PC are the leading platforms for video game sales, while the Xbox is lagging behind really badly. The Switch, on the other hand, is basically its own market, and their sales are also not a joke either. Let's get back to that Monster Hunter Wilds sales. This person claimed that Monster Hunter Wilds sold 5 million copies on the PS5 and 2.6 million copies on PC. Oh, and a couple hundred on Xbox. But there are no stats to back this up, aside from wild speculation based on a chart breakdown. One industry analyst at Circana NPD said that Wilds actually sold better on PC. The PC is definitely no slouch. Console sells more games than PC. Well, not on this game, according to one report from an industry analyst. Even so, it really depends on the game. This really depends on the region. This depends on so many factors that it's really hard to say if they are selling more on consoles or on PC. Aside from the industry analyst report, Capcom did have their own breakdown of sales in their financial report, which shows that PC units did sell more than consoles, but there are also times where the consoles did sell more than PC. So again, it depends on the time, it depends on the game, it depends on the region. It depends on so many factors that it's really hard to determine a universal, applicable truth for every game. All I'm saying is, the sales based on platform charts are not reliable to score points in the console war arguments, and anyone who immediately makes conclusions out of these dubious charts and graphs without a critical thought should immediately have their opinions dismissed. Mine included, to be fair, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide who to believe. And that's all for the video today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to the end, here's a cat. Before we close this video, huge thanks to all these wonderful sponsors. You are all fantastic. If you want to see your name among these legends, then check out the links below, just $1. And you have supported this channel a lot. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.